Alright, to get started, we just need to put our hand in the middle of the paper like this. Put one dot on that side of your hand. Put another dot on the other side of your hand. I'll make those a little bigger so they're easier to see. And we're going to use those as starting points for some of the lines that we're going to be making in a minute. Alright, the first thing I want to do is to hook on to that and just bring a line off the edge of the paper. This one just goes down the hill a little bit, and this one will do the same on the other side. Hook back onto this point and just slant a line down. It doesn't have to be really long. And just stop. And do the same thing on the other side. It can be longer, a little shorter. Put a hook on point there. That's just a dot, a thick dot, something that will help you get back to the right place. Hook onto that and just go this way. On this side, we go that way. These will not be perfectly symmetrical, but I'm going to draw them so that they are somewhat symmetrical. Put a dot there to get us back to the right place, and just swing this around like that. We're going back to the same point, and we're going to come down. It can be straight down, it can be slanted in, it can be slanted out. End your line with a dot. We'll do the same thing over here, and it does not matter a whole lot how that line travels as long as it's going back this way. Put a dot right there just so you have a focal point when you start your new line. Come down. It can be longer or shorter. Come out from that same dot and bring the line back again like this. Let's put a dot there. Now if there's any part of this line that is in front of this dot, then just hook on to the part that's furthest out. And we just want to come down. Don't make it perfectly straight. If you do, it'll be okay, but it's better if it's not perfectly straight. Let's do something different over here. Let's put a point on the end of that line, and let's just bring this line in, and then let's bring it down off the edge of the paper. We're going to put a log across here. So that's going to be mostly a rectangular shape. Now I'm going to turn my paper around because it's easier to draw the line. I sketch whenever I'm needing to make a longer line that has to have certain characteristics. That is, I want this to be somewhat rectangular. Now on the end, I'm just going to put a line this way. I've got a little bit of a curve in that line, and that way. And then I'm going to sketch the line back. Sketching is just short stroke drawing. It allows me to think about what the line is doing as I draw it. So we're going to make that into a log. Now let's hook on up here somewhere, just right in here maybe, and go this way, but don't go to the edge. Just stop. Go straight up and down. And then you can go off the edge. Now, go back to this line and just run it out a little further. Now we're going to go back to the corner. Put a dot right there. Give you a focal point somewhere we're going to hook on and shortcut down to this line like that. Sometimes I like to put extra pieces on that line to show that there's a crack or fracture in the rock. On the other side, let's do something very much like that. Hook on, you can go up or don't go down. You can go flat or you can go up. The line doesn't have to be straight. All right, let's go up a little bit and back a little bit. Stop. Don't go to the edge yet. If you do, we can make it work, but I want to go up a little bit and then I want to run off the edge. Okay. Let's get back and work on that. Go to this corner right here. Now look where I'm at. Put a dot right there. Give yourself a focal point. We're at this first little notch right here. And just run that line back some. Go to the next notch, this little corner right here. Put a dot. Just to give yourself a focal point. Hook on and run that line back some. Go to the corner. Make sure you're hooked on right here and shortcut down to this line. Corner, shortcut, and there we've got our rocky cliffs. Now we could do some more of that type of thing, but we need to get on and maybe put some trees in here or some other features. All right. I'm going to go back down to the cliffs that we worked on earlier. Now, think about what this line does because your new line needs to do it also. So hook on, and I'm going to turn the paper around. It's just easier for me to draw if I get the paper turned around. So I'm going to sketch a line, and I'm going to watch that spacing. It doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to bring that line on around. I don't know how these will end yet. I'll figure it out in a minute. I'm going to hook onto this, and I'm going to bring a line around like that one. They don't have to be parallel. They just need to travel in the same direction. Now he just created little ledges in our cliff. And we'll figure out how these end in a minute. All right, other side. Hook on. Bring this around. We've got a little turn in the line there. Hook onto that and bring that around. You can bring it far or you can not bring it so far. Hook on, point where the line changes direction, and if you're not really sure, just put one anywhere and bring that line around. Now, these are a little bit too straight for a jagged cliff, but it will work. If I have students make these jagged lines, sometimes that just is disastrous. It just doesn't turn out. We can put other features on this cliff, but we'll see how much time we've got left after we get the important things. Now, right in here, I'm going to put two dots. I'm going to spread them apart a good bit, maybe even a couple of fingers apart, and I'm going to put a horseshoe over that. It's like a rainbow. I'm going to go up and bend it around. I'm not worried about if I hit that dot. That's just to help me understand how wide to make this. And then I'm going to go up on this side somewhere and put a dot. It wouldn't matter too much where. Not way high. And then I'm going to sketch that out to there. And that makes a little tunnel. Looks better if you put a few hatch lines there for shading. As you come forward, you spread them out, but we're not going to get too carried away with that just yet. Now, these tunnels are cool. Well, I think they are. All right, now that you know what to do, you can make a tunnel here. It's just a horseshoe or rainbow shape. Hook on to the back of it somewhere and come down. If you want those same things over here, I'm going to draw maybe one or two more. I'm not going to do very many of them. Now, you would not hook onto this side. We're on the other side. You have a different point of perspective, so we need the dot here. And just bring it out. It's a different perspective. If you do it the other way, it just, well, I don't know what will happen. It won't work, I'm pretty sure. You can even put one, let's see, you can even put one like just put the line, put the rainbow shape, put your dot, and hook them up. You can even put one that isn't sitting on a ledge. You can just stick one in like that. Now we're going to put a horizon line across here. That's where the ground and sky come together. It's where the ground meets the sky. And just pick a place. Just up in here somewhere. Just pick a place, hook on. It doesn't have to be straight. It's probably better if it's not. Just run across, because the ground can be formed and shaped many different ways. Alright, I'm going to put a row of trees across there. And I have another one that I worked on for practice, and they're just going to be little curvy lines like that. I'll show you an easy way to do it. If you put your finger down and just put the curvy lines around your finger like you're giving it a curly hairdo, that'll work. You can slide over and do it again. We don't want these trees big. They're in the distance. So as things get further away from you, they appear to get smaller. And these trees should be pretty far away, so we don't want them huge. Now, once you get used to the pattern of strokes for making a tree, you don't have to use your finger anymore. You can just go 1, 2, 3. Let's make a tree just like that. They can go up, they can turn down, and there doesn't need to be a lot of details. These are far away, so from this point of view or this perspective, you would not see a lot of detail in the things in the background. Okay, what about the hills? Okay, I'm going to, I'll just pick a place right in here, and I'll slant, jump, skip that, and just run it off like that. I'll do the same thing on this side. Let's see, I'll just hook on right in here somewhere. I'll slant, whatever I hit, I'm going to jump it and just run off the edge. Now, I want to put a big round sunset in here. Could be the moon. I like it to be the sunset because I can use some pretty colors on it. So I practice that with my finger. Might even put a couple dots. I doubt I will hit the end dot, but I will start at this one. And as I come across, I'll practice that a few times. That helps me get that motion into my thinking. And then when I make the line, just try to make the same motion. I'm not worried about hitting the dot. I'm worried about trying to keep this smooth. Now the sun or the moon will be here, and you'll see a little bit of it down here, and that's great. I'll tell you why, because we can put this log in silhouette, and that'll give us really good contrast, and that'll look great. I'm going to put some texture on this, which is just, well, just wiggly, squiggly lines. And I'm probably going to regret that little mess up there. But when I color it, it's going to be black. Most of this is going to disappear. It looks good in the drawing stage, though. So I do it anyway. It doesn't take long. And we give the idea that that's a log. And we're just about there. I'm going to put a bat in here. I'm going to zoom in so that we can see that a little bit better. All right, I'm going to start with a circle. 2 ears. I'm going to put a dot over here and a dot over there because I'm going to hook onto those in a minute. I'll give you a chance to catch up. Okay, now just hook on like this. curved line, curved line. Then I'm going to stretch that out at an angle like that. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to stretch that out at an angle like that. And I'm going to look at those two lines and try to determine if they're the same length. This one might need to be a little longer on mine. Okay, now I'm going to put my my pen, which it's a bad idea to draw with a pen because you can't make corrections. So it's up to me to get it right the first time. And that's not easy, to tell you the truth. All right, I'm going to put my pen here. For you, it should be a pencil. Always draw with a pencil so you can make corrections there. And I'm going to jump down and put a dot. That's a target. And now I'm going to sketch a line that curves out and then back in toward this target. And there's the body of my bat. Now don't let the next part be confusing. We're just mainly going to go from there to there. You can put a hook on point as a target on both sides. You're probably not going to hit it exactly, but I'm going to turn this so that the shape I make is like little rainbow shapes. So rainbow, rainbow, or umbrellas, maybe like umbrellas. And I'm just going to work my way down. Take your time. I'll give you a little time to get this figured out. And you can just work with it. If you draw lightly, you can make a few changes. I don't want you to spend forever on it. That's not going to help either. Just take your time the first time. Umbrella shapes. I'm just going to work my way toward this. This is my target. Umbrella shapes. I'm not going to count them. It doesn't matter if they match on both sides. It would probably be better if they did, but this is art. We're not going to get that detailed with it. Let's put a couple little pieces there. If you're still working on the wing, you can do that in a few minutes. All right, take a little break while you catch up with that. And then if you want to put a face on your bat, which again, if you color it black, this is probably all going to disappear. But it looks good in the drawing stage. And we could put feet on this. Just wouldn't get too carried away. Actually, that's just not a good idea. If you've already done it, that's fine. It won't hurt it. Just didn't look as good as I thought it would. It's okay. All right, let me zoom back out. And we will work on just a really quick tree. Here in my practice picture, I just drew this tree. We're going to go really quickly and really simply with that. So I'm just going to take a line up and twist it, hook on and twist that way a few times. And you can do one on the other side if you want to, but we're running out of time and we need a little bit of time for you to add some of the things that maybe you think of, which I've filled the picture up pretty much. I don't know what else you could do, but there is some room. You could put things on the ground up here. All right, there's the tree. Very quickly, I'm going to go in and do some hatch line shading on these rocky pieces. I love drawing cliffs. It's a great opportunity to do some fun 3D and in a very simple way. Now on the face of the cliff, this would not be smooth. You can put little marks here and there, and mostly I just make them irregular. If I get a little point on one, sometimes I'll hook on and turn that point into a 3-line point. Another way you could texture these cliffs, texture is just when you take your pencil or whatever you're working with and sort of describe the surface, whether it's smooth or rough. In this case, it's rough, and you could just mark it like that. Okay. I don't know if you've stayed caught up with me or not, but if not, it's okay. You can make up your own. One last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put some motion marks that show or indicate that this bat maybe flew out of this cliff, out of this cave in this cliff. Motion marks, it just gives the illusion or the idea that that bat flew out. All right, from here it is all coloring, and I sure hope that was fun. Now for some coloring. I think I'll start with the yellow, and I'll start right down in here. I like to color with short strokes, small color, because big color is hard to control. I like to stay in the lines the best I can. And take your time. Good work takes time. Try not to leave white streaks. Those will make your work look sloppy. Crayons will work okay. I'm using a colored pencils on this one, but I very often use crayons. The problem with colored pencils is that they're very difficult to sharpen. And when you do sharpen them, very often they break. And that's really why they're difficult to sharpen, because it's hard to sharpen them without breaking them. But they are excellent for getting into small areas. Now, there shouldn't be any problem coloring this picture. Everything is big enough that crayon should work pretty well. But every now and then I like to use the colored pencils. You can choose your colors as you please. This could be the moon. You could actually just leave that white. But I want it to be a sunset because bats can come out earlier, usually when the sun is setting. Sometimes you'll see one or two that come out just as the sun begins to set. And the one thing I really like about bats, although they're dangerous animals, I would never touch one. They eat insects. And I figure if it's eating an insect, then it's not doing a bad thing around my house. Okay, I'm going to finish coloring the sky in a minute, but I'll show you if you want to, the sun, if you want to do the sky in purple, it looks pretty good in purple. If you want to make the purple from red, violet, and indigo, that looks super. I really like the effect from red, violet, and indigo. When you blend these two colors, you get a really, really, really interesting color sky. But if you want to skip the color blending on this one and just use purple, that's fine. And if your crayon says violet, that is purple.